Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6:30 p.m. and I'm calling the regular meeting of the Universal City Council to order. It's Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. Call for a quorum check.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick? Here. Okay, let's start over. Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick? Here. Councilmember Goolsby?
Mr. Gold is out sick.
Councilmember Putt? Here. Councilmember Rubal?
Here.
Councilmember Shelby?
Councilmember Shelby, can you hear us?
Present.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Super.
Barely. I'm here.
Okay. We can hear you loud and clear. Invocation tonight will be, it's actually on me, and Mr. Science is going to step in for me, and I will lead us into the invocation. Please stand.
Precious Father, thank you. Thank you so much. You've given us rain we've asked for, maybe a little too much in some situations, but some of us just pray really hard, Lord. Lord, today that you would bless our city councilman, bless our mayor, our city manager, Kim Turner, her entire staff, Lord. Our first responders that go out every day and protect us and take care of us. And all of us in Universal City. Father, we have some new members here today that I haven't seen before. Bless them. Lord, by the time everyone walks out of here, let them feel part of the community. Let each and every member here today walk out feeling inspired by what they hear here today. Lord, put us all together, put our minds together. Let us thank you, Father, for the beautiful city you've given us. Thank you for helping us with every challenge. Thank you for the people that lead this city. Lord, we thank you in your precious name, Father. Amen.
Thank you, Doctor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I, the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike, we may have to make you the honorary city chaplain.
I think so.
I really appreciate it. Next up is the citizens to be heard. Before we go into citizens to be heard, I'd like to give everybody a fair warning. Tonight is a very long agenda, so we may be taking a couple of breaks throughout, but we will plug all the way through to the end tonight. And I know later on we are going to excuse ourselves into an executive session, and we all know what happens after that to come back and somebody sends tickets. But hopefully you can stick out to the very end. Citizens to be heard at this time. The public is invited to address the presiding official and speak on any matter not specifically listed for public hearing elsewhere on this agenda. No city council deliberation or action will be taken at this time. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And I have a few people signed up today. Mr. Billy Hill.
Hello, neighbors. Billy Hill, 9023 Phoenix Avenue, Universal City. And I'm just here primarily for kudos for the city as I'm going around the community and speaking to other people. People are bringing up the chatter to where it seems to be quite positive. So I know we can use all the positive input we can get. Rarely do we get that instead of the negative. Everything's been sounding real good. We got an election coming up real soon, and I personally want to thank Mr. Phil Vaughn for serving. He's done quite well, and it takes a lot of a person's time and initiative away from the family and the job, so I appreciate that. Look forward to the new regime. Look forward to continued improvements. I'm not much of a library guy or parks guy. I do go to the APRs at the clubhouse, go play golf, but it's getting so crowded up there, you can't hardly find a chair anymore. So things seem to be working out quite well there. I've got a great event coming up next month and had to squeeze some things in. So kudos to the clubhouse and let them make money while the cut hay while the sun shines. And thank you, current council, and looking forward to New Year's. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Excuse me. Second up, Ms. Veronica Goldhorn.
Mayor Maxwell, council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. My name is Veronica Goldhorn, and I reside on 27823 Bourbon Road, New Braunfels. I'm here to speak to you about the SCUC ISD bond election. I'm a volunteer and represent the Students First at SCUC ISD organization. I was born and raised in the Schertz-Cibolo Universal City community since 1969. I'm a Samuel Clemens High School graduate and a retired educator with 30 years of service in SCUC ISD. Growing up in the 70s and 80s, I spent a lot of time in Universal City, particularly along Pat Booker Road. We shopped and ate at many of the stores and ate at many of the restaurants and came to Universal City for our entertainment. I remember vividly shopping at Piggly Wiggly and Wynn's, eating at Sambo's, and hanging out at Godfather's after football games. I remember going to the Universal City Twin Cinema movie, watching King Kong several times, and especially enjoyed ice cream treats at Roaring Fifties. Those buildings either no longer exist or have been renovated or replaced or even upgraded. Like those buildings, our school district facilities are in need of renovations, upgrades, and replacements. I'm here today to ask you as Universal City voters to support the SCUC ISD bond election that's taking place this week and vote yes. Early voting started yesterday and runs through the 28th. Saturday, May 2nd is Election Day. There are 3 propositions to vote for. Prop A is safety and security upgrades, learning environments, additions and renovations, and facility infrastructure. Prop B is stadium facilities upgrades, safety and security, accessibility, lighting, sound system, scoreboard, artificial turf at Still High School, and artificial turf at Corbett Junior High. Prop C is technology replacements and funding computers, iPads, and Chromebooks for both students and staff. SCUC ISD Superintendent Paige Maloney is here this evening to give you the facts about the bond. I, on the other hand, can express my opinion. Our buildings need major TLC. We have buildings that have been untouched for the last 20 to 25 years. It's like literally stepping back into time. Our facilities look the same as they did back in the 70s and 80s. If you have visited our schools and our stadiums, you will clearly see the need. We should do better for our students and the future generations of our community and provide safe learning environments. I hope that as residents of Universal City and registered voters, that you will get out and vote, and that you will vote yes for Prop A, Prop B, and Prop C, and vote yes for the SCUC bond because great schools create a thriving community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Veronica. Next up is Mr. Michael Sines.
Michael Sines, 13607 Oak Meadows, Universal City. Yesterday it's pouring down rain, and I was headed to HEB. I called a family member, hey, you want anything? Figured I'd send him a trip and what have you. Well, I'm always wanting to point out the positives in Universal City. Well, I get back from HEB, and it's pouring down rain and everything, and I look across on the other side at the house in the next street, and I see 3 or 4 cars out there, and I see the mayor drenched in water, and his hat on, and just water coming down all over. Then I see another guy that I see quite a bit, Randy, and he's there and just pouring down water. And I'm like, what are these guys doing out here? Well, the neighbor had told me they had a flood last time. Well, when it was all said and done, these 2 guys, along with, they took some other cars, a bunch of sandbags and stuff like that, trying to stop the water. It wasn't a city issue. In any city I've ever lived in was, hey, not our bad, we're out of here. Not these guys. They stuck around. They told them, look, here's where it's happening. As it was pouring down rain, no umbrella. The least a good neighbor could have done, I could have done, was taking an umbrella over there. But no, I'm too excited. Oh my binoculars, what's going on? So these 2 guys actually went over and told them where to trench so the water would go through it so it wouldn't flood his house. So they put something in the internet, I guess you call it, and all of them were, had hats on it, but they dug the trench and the water went right where it's supposed to. And I'll tell you, when I say we live in a hallmark city, it's things like that, Randy, Mayor. It's things like that, and you guys know what I'm talking about, because you guys are doing stuff like that all the time. And I just want the city to know that, my God, we live in a fabulous town. Get out and enjoy some of it. And I just want to thank you two personally. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stein. I must admit that it was actually Brandon that, in the rain and in the cover up and that distance, he does kind of look like a little bit like Randy. So I'm not sure who got insulted there, who got a compliment. Yeah, that was an unexpected call yesterday, but that's what our employees do that across the board, and we try to help wherever we can. I just happen to be at the right place at the right time, or vice versa. That's all we have for the citizens to be heard. We're going to move right on. Just a word of advice for those folks that are a little bit confused about the Church Civil Low Universal City School District. Part of that school district does come through Universal City, so we actually have both two school districts, ISD in Judson and Church Civil Low US in Universal City. I happen to live in that in the Church district. City manager's report, and
Yes, sir, we have University Health Watoma Hospital update. We have Jeremy Riney here, and Maribel's going to go ahead and pull up his presentation.
Mr. Riney is the CEO of the University Hospital at Watoma that's under construction and should be operational within
Q1 of 27.
Q1 of 27.
Within a year. So, Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you for having me tonight, and wait on my presentation here. Looking at it.
Give me 1 second.
No problem. So the construction is moving along quite well. We're about 80% completion at our current state. So our goal is to get to that 95% mark to where we get ready for our state inspections with the Texas Department of State Health Services. It's a very lengthy inspection process, takes a couple months. It's about a 500,000 square foot hospital, so it does take a while to inspect every square foot, as you might imagine. But it is coming along quite nicely.
Sorry, I'm trying to find it.
That's okay.
It has been fun watching it build.
Good.
I mean, it's really
It is.
quite a sight seeing it come there, and just real excited for our area of what it's going to bring to us.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly the hospital can be
It
constructed.
really
It
is.
is. So I've been with University Health since November, about mid-November, and just seeing the progress in, a handful of months is just amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful campus.
Where are you from, Bridgeline?
Originally from West Texas, so I grew up in a very small town in West Texas, a little town called Baird, Texas, outside of Abilene, if you know where Abilene, Texas is. So I grew up in a very small rural community. I've been here in San Antonio for the last, 8 years. A&M graduate, I don't know if that's good or bad in the trend, but A&M grad for both undergrad and my master's degree. And so actually started my career running small rural critical access hospitals in Central Texas. And then did about 8 years out in West Texas in Abilene, San Angelo as a CEO, and then moved to San Antonio, been here the last 8 years. So working as a hospital administrator. So, but love San Antonio and the community, the culture. Biggest small town we've ever lived in. And, coming from a small community of 1,200 people, graduating class of 18 people. I like this. San Antonio is going to be overwhelming, but biggest small town I've ever lived in. So I love it.
Tonight's the evening for technical difficulties.
That's all right.
I think it's the rain.
It happens.
Now, we classify Universal City, though, as small town atmosphere with big city convenience.
I love it. I love it.
Should have it up shortly.
No worries,
Sorry
you're
about
fine.
It's probably like you're waiting for your doctor's appointment.
I'm used to that. They make me wait extra long in the hospital administrator.
There we go.
All right.
There we go.
All right. You're gonna have to navigate for me, I believe, so I don't think this is gonna do it, is it?
It might.
No.
Okay. I will
That's okay,
navigate.
no worries.
She's very good.
Yeah. All right, so, I think the important thing to note is regardless of what facility you walk into, we're about to open a lot of different hospital campuses over the next 12 months as part of University Health. Our mission doesn't change. It's to improve the good health of the community. And so we'll continue to do that regardless of whether you're at our main campus or at our Watauga campus that will be opening up. I think one thing that's very important to point out about University Health that makes us different is that we are the only locally owned, locally operated health system in the greater San Antonio area. So our fiduciary responsibility is to our patients, to the community members. We don't have shareholders. We are here to serve the community. And so I think that's an important differentiation. All of our profits that we make, we reinvest in our programs, in our community, again, to improve the good health of the community. This just shows a footprint of our current footprint across University Health, and you see we have a very vast footprint, both on the inpatient side and then also on the ambulatory side and our outpatient care centers, walk-in care. The important thing to note here is that hospital number that says 2 right now is about to go from 2 to 5 over the next 12 months. And so we're opening our new, what used to be the old Christus Medical Center campus will become Babcock Specialty Hospital, which will open in the first quarter of next year, most likely. Our Watauga Hospital, which we've been here to talk about tonight, will open in the first quarter of 2027 as well. And then shortly after that, our Palo Alto campus on the south side of San Antonio, just south of 410, will open about 6 days after Watauga. What we do, everybody thinks about healthcare, you think about hospitals. And we provide a lot of care within our hospitals at University Health, but we provide a lot of care outside the four walls of the hospital. Almost 7 million encounters across our outpatient visits, and a lot of visits in our emergency rooms, and all those numbers are going to increase as we open up our additional campuses across the community. This just shows the current map of where we're located right now. So lots of dots on the map, including hospitals, outpatient centers, walk-in centers. And then you can see the blue dot there on the northeast side where our future campus will be, and then also on the south side where the Palo Alto campus will be. And I do imagine that we'll see a lot of additional dots around those blue dots for the new hospital campuses as we, what I call, develop the medical ecosystem of those hospital campuses. So it all started with a vision many years ago where University Health and their leadership team and the board of managers wanted to expand the acute care footprint across the community. And was a very aggressive investment. Took a group of visionaries to do that. And it's a $1.5 billion investment across the 2 hospital campuses, 2 multi-specialty clinics as well, which are operating the Vita Clinic on the Palo Alto campus, and then also the Weekly Clinic at the corner of I-10 in Houston. Because we're locally owned, locally operated, we want to keep our business local. And so 75% of the work that's being done at those hospitals is being completed by local vendors. And so that's a commitment we make as a local institution, and something we'll commit to in all of our projects. Current status, we talked about this a little bit already, but we're right at 80% complete right now for the Watauga campus, preparing for our 95% inspection, which we anticipate will occur in the September timeframe, probably filter over into November as well. And then preparing for our final Texas Department of State Health Services inspection in the mid-December, and then we'll roll into the January timeframe. So we feel pretty confident that February, March is when we'll open our doors at the Watauga campus. Again, the hospital is 500,000 square feet, 5 floors. Medical office building is 100,000 square feet, 5 floors as well. So big campus. We'll open up with 147 licensed beds across the campus. We will not open up every one of those from a staff capacity. Day one, we'll open up a complement of those. We'll open up 40 of those 100 med-surg beds, 10 of the ICU beds. We'll open up the mother baby unit. I think that's a big win for this section of the greater San Antonio area, Universal City and all included, that we will be the only mother baby acute care program in this whole area. So I think that's going to be a big win for the community. So we'll have 6 LDRP beds, labor and delivery beds, 10 postpartum beds, and then also 11 bed neonatal intensive care unit. We'll have a 28-bed emergency room, with 2 multi-treatment rooms, take our total capacity about 32 in the emergency room. So more than will sufficient be adequate for our community. We'll have full surgical capability at the hospital 24/7. Start with 4 operating rooms, can expand into another 2, and build out more as time goes on. Also have invasive cardiac cath labs. In the event of cardiac emergency, we will have teams on call to care for those patients. We will also be able to expand that footprint. It's important to us as we design the facility that we design a infrastructure that would be able to expand over time. And so we will take our current 147 beds and to increase it to almost 350 by adding additional floors and then building out shelf space that's there already. This is just a stacking diagram that kind of shows you the layout of the facility. The medical office building being on the left side would be 5 floors again. And then the hospital on the right side being 5 floors, and we can add that 6th and 7th floor. Basically, every floor of the patient care tower is 60 beds per floor, 20 beds per unit. Which we'll be able to have 120 additional beds with that 6th and 7th floor. So again, as the community's healthcare needs grow, as the community grows, healthcare needs grow, we'll be able to grow right along with it. So as we open, we do expect to have about a workforce of about 500 team members day one. That target is moving constantly, as you can imagine, as we're finalizing our staffing plans and service lines. But we do project that over about a 3 to 5 year period, we'll probably have to double that workforce most likely as we increase bed capacity over time. And so we do expect that to happen. We will have a small teaching component in conjunction with University of Incarnate Word in conjunction with CommuniCare, which is a fairly qualified healthcare center in the community. I'm quite familiar with them. And so we'll have their family medicine residents rotating through our facility and working with CommuniCare in their clinic, which they're going to be leasing out the 5th floor of our medical office building. Something important to note about the hospital is that a lot of people think about a university hospital as an academic teaching facility, and that's exactly what it is at the main campus. But our community hospitals will be different. They are true community hospitals. They'll have a very small teaching component that may grow over time, but these are true community hospitals that allow community physicians to practice and to send patients to get care for. So. This is just a listing of some of the different services and designations that we'll have during the first year. These are all what we'll have day one. And so, surgical coverage such as general surgery, orthopedic coverage. Again, as we're talking about, if someone comes up in a cardiac emergency, we will have interventional cardiologists and interventional teams on call 24/7, 365 days of the year to care for our patients. Our GI as well, a big specialty that's in need. Again, we've already talked about the Women's Services Program. That'd be a huge win for the community. And then also any outpatient needs as far as lab and imaging we'll have as well. The designations we'll have: level 4 trauma, that's lower to moderate level trauma. It's common in facilities these sizes at the appropriate level. We'll be a primary stroke center, so if a stroke patient comes in with stroke-like symptoms, it doesn't need any type of mechanical intervention or neurosurgical intervention. We can administer clot-busting drugs and keep the patient there locally here in the community. STEMI is just, again, ST elevated myocardial infarction. That's a heart attack. And so that is a cardiac patient coming in. We'll have that, again, on call and available to serve our community. And then our maternal and neonatal level designations, we'll have that as well day one, so to serve our community. And then this just gives you an example of what it will look like in its finished state. It does not look like that today. It looks very pretty right here. I love it. But you can see the inpatient tower on the left, the medical office building on the right. And I love the design because it's a common lobby between the medical office building and the hospital, where you don't have to leave one building to get the other. They're connected, so it's great. I think when you go to a hospital, it can be very intimidating, especially go to the medical center. It's overwhelming. I don't think this will be overwhelming for our community, so I'm excited about that. Example of just the lobby, very nice natural light coming in, a lot of wonderful architectural elements you see there. Move on to the next slide. And this shows the connected lobby moving over to the medical office building from the hospital. So again, it's very navigatable. So something I love about the design. Example of an ICU room. This is just a standard room in our intensive care unit. Clean design, nice architectural elements. Move on to the next slide. Example of a couple of bays in our neonatal intensive care unit. with some nice designs there. And this is how we look today. So this is some drone footage actually shot last week from Rotama Parkway, kind of I-35 frontage road area. So you can see good progress putting in the final glass and then medical office building. That crane will go away in the next 30 days and making really good progress on the campus. This is the backside of the hospital, and you can kind of see the T design in the inpatient wings there. Each one of those legs of the T is 20 beds, and so we can add a 6th and a 7th floor on top of that as the community healthcare needs expand, we can expand along with it. And then the lower portion below those towers is our procedural areas where we can expand out. As we need to add additional ORs, cath labs, again, community healthcare needs grow, we can grow with it. Just a few examples of pictures that we have there of the interior space. You can see all flooring is laid, wall protection is going up, a lot of above the ceiling work is being done across the hospital. You move on to the next one. Example of the nursing station, all the casework and millwork is in, flooring protection is down. Looks really, really nice. Again, just another example here, working on the fire alarm there on the left, and another example of a nursing station on the right. And then that's that same 2 bays of the neonatal and care unit there on the right side, and then one of our private rooms in our NICU. And this example of a labor and delivery room on the left. These rooms are a little bit bigger. I love the large windows, allows a lot of natural light to come in, which is great for the healing environment for our patients. And on the right side, just a normal patient room, which again, very simple, clean design, which I think the community will love. And that's it. That's my update for you. I hope you enjoyed seeing kind of the progress where we're at, and look forward to as we open up our campus the first quarter next year.
Well, thank you very much. Any questions from the council?
Are they all private rooms or?
They're all private rooms, yes, ma'am.
That's the direction almost all hospitals
Yes,
are
ma'am.
going now. That's
It is.
wonderful.
It is, yeah.
It looks great.
Thank you, thank you.
Mr. Rob?
No.
You good? Mr. Sheldon?
Thank you.
No. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We're looking forward to the opportunity and all of the different opportunities other organizations will have in moving in and supporting this hospital. Next, under the management is the Opticom traffic.
Yes, sir. As you know, or some of you who've been around for a while know, this has been coming up probably for the last 5 or 6 years. Initially came up when we had the discussion about putting a substation down on the far side of the city where we meet Converse. Determined that the substation was really outside of our financial means. At that time, we had looked at the Opticom. It was about $600,000. You had to pay for it all at one time, and we weren't ready for it at that point financially either. So we've had it in a couple of budgets. It's been postponed a few times. So there's some new things that have come to the light that I hope the council will find as a benefit for the city. And the first is that the price for the Opticom for Universal City, because it's been in place now for a while, has come down to about $370,000. Rather than having to put all the money up front now, they allow you to make those payments over 10 years. So $37,000 a year. In addition to that, we do have one resident who has offered through an annuity to help us fund the very first year of that. The first year has a little bit of upfront costs because you have additional things you have to do, the trucks into the traffic system. And so for the first year, it's about $47,000. And then for years 2 through 9, it is $37,000. So thankfully, the fire department has also been very good at monitoring their budget this year. And they feel like they can expend some of their funds to make it happen as well. So what we're here this evening is to get a consensus from council either to move forward and allow me to sign that, or if you want to have it come back up on another agenda, we'll bring it back on the next agenda.
Mr. Wall?
I motion to move forward.
Second.
Third. Well, we're asking just for a consensus. We're not really looking for a
No,
vote, so.
it's in a report, so you can vote to approve the contract, and then I'll go ahead and sign it and lock it in at the $370,000.
We have a second and any discussion.
$480,000.
Let's call for the vote.
Councilmember Revolve?
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughn?
I think it was Shelby, but I'll take it.
Oh,
Yes, aye.
Councilmember Shelby,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Pike.
Aye.
Motion carried.
That was a good
No,
one.
thank you, we appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much, appreciate it. Thank you. And thank our anonymous donor. Next is the CPS Energy UC Public Works County Cleanup Report.
Yeah, some of you may remember, depending on where you live, the power goes out a lot in your area, and a lot of it has to do with trees, where they're located, and of course, we have a lot of overgrowth in the alleys, where a lot of our power lines are in some areas, and so Brandon had been working with CPS Energy to get a regular schedule to go through and clean up some of those alley areas. We've done some, so I asked him to come here today to kind of give you an update of where we are, talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly that we encountered in the alleys and things that we found, and then just kind of what our next step is in getting all of that cleaned up. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So yes, back in the first part of the spring, we brought to you a presentation regarding a lot of the overgrowth that has happened within the alleyways where all of our utilities are at. Thank you. So I worked with CPS. We ended up, CPS hired McCoy's Tree Service to actually go through and basically trim all the trees that are within the power lines, 10-foot radius around those, as well as everything that was fence to fence, so that we could get equipment into the alleys. We have successfully completed 22 alleys as of today. That is the extent of our first phase. We're looking at getting another phase going, but it'll probably be in the first quarter of next year. The areas that we tackled were primarily on the southeast of town, between North Boulevard and Aviation. Along with the other areas, we tackled a couple of alleys in the Parkview area, and then also we went to the Coronado neighborhood as well to tackle several areas in that. Throughout the time of tree trimming, we actually come across around 10 plus unhappy residents as far as taking out some trees or basically tree trimming the ones that were overhanging the fence. We did what we could to help mitigate those issues. In all, I believe most residents were happy at the end of it. A lot of the residents were happy just in general that the alley was actually getting taken care of. We did express to them too, though, that this is a one-time deal. After this, it is on them. It is an ordinance that it's their responsibility to take care of. So, so far, we haven't really had anyone complain coming back to us about it. They're all happy with it, so.
Did you find any broken sewer lines or?
We found one sewer line that was exposed as far as like cleanout, but that was just because that's where all the water washed straight through going to the next door neighbors. But other than that, we fixed that and put it back the way we found it, or better actually.
In the next phase?
Next phase is actually going to be starting hopefully in February or March timeframe. Basically, CPS has money that was allocated within the power line budget, and now they also have another part that's allocated towards gas lines. So we tried taking care of all the overhead first. Our next area will be focusing on areas that don't have overhead lines, but they have gas lines that are in the alleys. So.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Grant, I really appreciate it. It's obviously an effort that hardens our city infrastructure by doing that. I do have a little bit of a question though with regard to if there's a power line and the residents' trees are going into the power line, we don't expect the residents to be getting close to the power line and trimming those trees away, or you sort of suggested that it's now on their side.
Correct. So if the power lines, if their trees are going directly up into the power lines, we're gonna ask the residents to actually try and keep those at standard height where they can trim and they're not gonna be electrocuted by working around the overhead lines.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Brandon, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item we're going into is our second quarter financial report. Ms. Green?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As of March 31st, 2026, we completed 50% of our fiscal year. Included in your package should be the unaudited revenues and expenditures for the general fund, utility fund, stormwater fund, and the golf course, and along with the second quarter investment report. At mid-year, the revenues exceeded expenditures for the general fund by approximately 3.9 million. This variance is largely due to the timing of ad valorem tax collections. The majority of those tax collections take place in the second quarter of our fiscal year. Ad valorem tax revenue totaled 8.9 million, which represented 96% of our annual budget. Sales tax revenue totaled 2 million, or approximately 50% of what we have budgeted. The utility funds expenditures exceeded revenues by approximately 1.2 million. This variance is primarily related to purchases authorized during executive session. If necessary, a budget amendment will be brought to council toward the end of the fiscal year. Water revenues totaled 2.7, which is 2.7 million, which is 51% of the budget. Sewer revenues totaled 2.4 million, which is 48% of our budget. Our stormwater fund expenditures exceeded revenues by approximately 100,000 at mid-year. Stormwater revenues totaled 442,000, representing 51% of the budget. And the golf course expenditures exceeded revenues by approximately 559,000. This is primarily due to the capital improvement expenditures incurred to date. And to date, budgeted transfers from the venue tax have not taken place. A budget amendment related to the capital improvements is included in tonight's agenda. That's all I have.
Any questions? Any questions? Thank you very much, Christine, appreciate it. Excuse me. And recap of Snowfest?
Yeah, we've been trying to do this update, well, for a couple of months, but either we couldn't get all the staff here at one time, or we realized we had too many council members gone, and so we just really wanted everybody to have an option. So we're going to go through it quickly tonight, but in 3 parts. First, we're going to see a video that was put together by Kathy and the communications team, and then Christine's going to talk a little bit about the finances, and then Randy's going to come up and give some numbers and other stuff of that nature. So Maribel's going to go ahead and roll a little 2.5-minute promo.
1997 New Country marked our entry into low-cost radio advertising, running 92 ads during the week leading up to Snowfest. JBSA became a great marketing partner, providing exposure in JBSA Today magazine and video exposure in the food courts at Randolph and Fort Sam. Our full-page ad in Seguin magazine with a circulation of 10,000 copies was distributed in multiple HEB stores throughout the region. And Due to 10, an events website that targets young adults, helped us tap into a new audience we hadn't previously reached.
Our second campaign, akin to a billboard near Wayland Baptist, featured a different Snowfest message during each of the 4 weeks leading up to the event, reaching thousands of drivers daily. In addition to our traditional print advertising with community impact newspapers, we expanded our reach by adding digital banner ads on its website. Based on the zip codes of past attendees, expanding our UC ad pages advertising into shirts, Converse, and Civilo proved to be very effective. We also received valuable social media exposure through Fun for Animal Kids and the New Broncos Apparel site top.
We've entered into the realm of using low-cost social media influencers for the first time, and we've secured new opportunities since Snowfest. Looking ahead, Placer.ai, which is already used for public works, development services, and the Golf and Event Center, will be a valuable tool for communications and events. The platform analyzes foot traffic and key data such as guest zip codes, income level, education, and more. Using that data, here's what we know about Snowfest.
Is that the end?
No, but it looks like it clicked off the end.
Oh, you cut off the
There's a
end.
little more
We
left.
apologize.
I was ready to hear that part. I know, but I want to know. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat for that.
Apparel site top.
We've entered into the realm of using low-cost social media influencers for the first time.
Wait, there's more.
Placer.ai attract just shy of 6,000 guests. The peak hour, 4 to 5 o'clock, the time period for the always popular mascot dance-offs. The average stay, about 2.5 hours. Placer AI and other marketing follow-up data has led to new goals for 2027. Using our Ken Joe billboard to attract guests from the South Side and other strategic areas. Using the Lamar advertising billboard on Interstate 35. Launching a Hispanic marketing campaign. And finally, offering Snowfest discount ticket packages right after the pumpkin patch and before serious holiday shopping begins.
There you go, two places on the aisle. And then we also have a photo of, used to be called UC, now called Flurry. Flurry's had a costume change. You see the Snow Bear has been around for about 7 or 8 years. 14 years, wow. And so it was past its life and past the smell test. So this is a picture of Flurry with the children. So, Christine?
So the Universal City Snowfest financial snapshot and community impact. The total revenues were $141,858. Attendee revenue was $95,833. Donations and sponsorships, $40,700. And vendor revenue, $5,325. Total expenditures were $160,822, which is a difference of about $18,000. But it brought together residents and families for a shared seasonal experience, strengthened community connections and local pride, provided visibility and opportunities for our local vendors and our partners, and created a memorable, high-value event that enhances quality of life in the city of Universal City.
You know, this Snowfest event is our biggest event for the city. It takes an army to put this thing together, all the departments. We work the event, it's an all-day event, starting first thing in the morning, and sometimes, this year I think we got home at 11 o'clock that night. So, Public Works, the team that I got does a great job all week long, putting it together. All the different departments come out and volunteer their time as well, doing what they can at different things that day. But I'm hoping everybody has fun, because that's one of the things that we stressed starting in October with the Parks and Rec Commission. We started planning in October for the event in February. And so there's a lot that goes into it throughout that process. And we can't do it without our sponsors. We've got some of our sponsors here tonight. We've got some volunteers that actually volunteer their time at the event, because it takes a huge amount of people, even volunteers, that actually help out and donate their time at our event. So, but you know, we had, Christine said 5,800 participants that were there, guests that were there. Basically, we had a total of 54 sponsors, 32 vendor merchants, 16 food booths, and 10 trailer food trucks. That was probably the most that we had this year, but they keep coming back. Everybody calls us, and we've had to set a limit this year, and everybody wants to, if somebody drops out, wants to come to our event. So we're excited. It's actually it was great that day, so, but I hope if you haven't been there yet, I hope you come out and check it out. So.
Thank you, Randy. Just FYI, this event is not designed to make money for the city. This is actually designed to break even. And it's a way that we can provide entertainment, affordable entertainment for our families. And we're not in competition with the rodeo, but face it, we're a lot cheaper. Anyway, thank you very much. And it's, what was this, number 4? Is this the 14th year?
14th, yes.
And I make a habit each year to go around and meet each of the vendors and they're out there. About half a dozen of them have been here every year for 14 years, and they were proud of the fact that they're getting ready for the 15th year. So it is a popular event and well attended. That being said, let's close off the speaker report and move on to public hearings.
Yeah.
Right there, buddy.
We might need the mouse, actually.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, Mayor, Council, thank you. So tonight's first public hearing is PC 637 SU 035, which is located at 208 East Lindbergh in the Aviation District. And this is the aerial map that shows the location. Papica Road is over here on the left. And so this, again, is in the Aviation District. That's important to point out as we go through the presentation. So the request is from the property owner who resides at the property. He is requesting an accessory dwelling unit or a mother-in-law suite, mother-in-law flat. And per the zoning code, that does require a specific use permit because it is located within the ROT district, the Old Town District. As we put in the report, let me see what else we can pull up here. So this property is unique because there's actually three zoning lots. And again, this is Lindbergh over here on the top. And so there's three individual zoning lots. They're the original zoning lots, 50 feet by 125. But he does own all three. And what he is proposing to do is use the connex that is located on the site right now and convert that into an ADU, and that's where the cursor is located. The main structure is located right here. You may have driven by, you may have noticed there's a lot of construction work going on in that home. Currently, there are 3 active permits, one for a fence, one for a roof, and one for a remodel. You may have seen a new roof go up. It is partially completed. This work has been continuing for the last couple of years. And this property in itself has been a code compliance case that we've been working through for several years. As I mentioned, property consists of 3 individual lots, so therefore, if this is approved, you would have to enter into an agreement with the city, a unity of title agreement, and that is something that council passed a couple of years ago in order to reduce the cost for property owners who have multiple zoning lots, so they can then just enter into an agreement, record it at the county, so they don't have to replat and spend $5,000 to $10,000 to replat the property. That unity of title will act in place of the replat. A couple of things that we wanted to point out. This did go before planning and zoning earlier this month. Planning and zoning did vote against this, 0 to 8. That was unanimous. We did send out, as required by state law, 24 notices to property owners within 200 feet of the subject property. We did not receive any returns. We didn't receive any calls or emails regarding this proposal. Most importantly, as we identified in the staff memo, is that, again, this is situated in the aviation district. And it is staff's opinion that this does not meet the intent or the vision of the aviation district master plan. And I'll show some photos, kind of back that up. So this is an example of a connex. And so this is not the one that's out there, but this is comparable to that. The one that is out there is orange. And here are some photos of the property itself. And so, as I mentioned, the connex, this is Lindbergh. So the connex is located there already. So we scroll, you can see the construction work going on at the site. This is a different angle. Very short driveway, so per code, if it is approved, he would have to install an additional parking space to accommodate the dwelling unit that's being added. There are a couple of accessory structures already on the site. There are 2 sheds. The code only allows 1. This is from the rear, the backside street, aviation. From the property at the rear, you can see the Connex is located there. And again, a couple of more pictures that show the shed and the Connex. There seems to be some sort of structure being erected on top of the Connex. We're not sure exactly what. The property owner was unable to attend tonight's meeting, but I can try and answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
You want to ask questions? Want to ask questions first, or going to close here,
Don't you have the
public hearing first?
specific questions for discussion?
All right. At this time, we're going to invite the public my apologies. At this time, the public is invited to address each item discussed in this section. Please limit your comment to the topic of the specific subject, which is accessory residential unit 208 East Lindbergh Boulevard. No one has signed up for the public hearing. However, policy is that I'll give you the opportunity to, if anybody would like to speak, now would be the time to do that. It is 7:24, and we're now open for public hearing. And does anyone like to stand up? It is 7:24.3, and the public hearing is closed. With that being said, let's open it up for questions. For Jim?
I was gonna say, I'm okay waiting until we just get ready to discuss later.
Okay.
Agreed.
Next items? Okay, thank you. So the next item we have is the property located at 942 Kitty Hawk Road, and that is at the intersection of Kitty Hawk and 1604. And so this aerial map identifies the location. Again, this is the north map. So Kitty Hawk is here, and you have the 1604, and then you have HEB at the back. This is the parking lot for HEB, and this is the gas station, C-store, and car wash at the corner. The very front of the corner of the property is a drainage channel. So the property owner is requesting a specific use permit to allow for automotive rentals, specifically U-Haul rentals. And so for the zoning code, a specific use permit is required because this property is zoned C5, highway commercial. The property owner, as was included in your packet, did provide a letter and identified that their intent is to allow for no more than 4 to 5 trucks. But obviously, as we'll talk about, there's no guarantee on the limit, on the number of trucks that can be located at that site. There are a couple of things that we wanted to bring up from a staff standpoint. One is that this is a prominent corner in the city, obviously because of 1604 and the highly trafficked Kitty Hawk Road. And so there's aesthetic concerns that we have. And I'm going to pull up some photos of the property itself, but also an example property where another U-Haul site is located. So this is the property in question. And I'll also pull up real quick their site plan to show you where they intended to provide parking. So they have identified, they provided the site plan, and the areas outlined in red is where they intend to park the U-Haul vehicles. Obviously, there are multiple sized vehicles or U-Hauls, and so not all vehicles will fit in a traditional parking space, which is 9 feet by 18 feet. However, there is some room at the front here where they probably could accommodate the larger size U-Haul trucks. Pointed that out because, as you can see, there's a lot of activity happening at this location. You have the gas station itself, you have the C-store, and then you have a car wash, which is not active at this point. As we scroll down, you can see that again. There could be some parking up in the front, over here, But the reason I bring that up is twofold. One is the fire marshal has weighed in and does not believe or believes that with vehicles parked in the locations that were identified on the site plan, but also in front of the gas pumps or the canopy, is that it will impede or create a situation for emergency response purposes. So there could be a circulation problem with them getting their apparatus in that location. This location is another site in town. This is over by Buckingham, across from the Seven Brew coffee shop, and so right by Buckingham Village. And so this has been, I think, operating for at least 6 years, 7 years, maybe longer. But their intent at the beginning was to start out small, but it grew. And so you have multiple vehicles parked. Depends on the demand, obviously, but as you know, Texas is an inbound state, so we have much more traffic coming here than leaving the state. And so we have an issue with this location. We also had an issue with another U-Haul location at Villa and Pat Booker Road. As you may recall, there's a storage facility there, there's some apartments behind it. And what we discovered at that location is that people just park, they drop off their U-Haul rentals any time of the day or night. And if the location is closed or it's full, they'll just park it on the streets. And so it creates a lot of traffic issues from a policing standpoint, but also for the residents that live nearby. And so what we did at that location was pass an ordinance and put no parking signs that pretty much sealed their fate. And so they no longer rent out U-Hauls at that location. But this is our concern, threefold. One is from a fire marshal standpoint. We're impeding an emergency call, the aesthetic component, because this is a prominent space in Universal City. We did send out 9 notices. We did obtain one response. It was an objection from a neighbor who lives across the street in a residential home. And Planning and Zoning did consider this, and they voted, just like the previous one, 0 to 8, so against the U-Haul. I'm not sure, is the property owner here tonight? Okay. So the property owner was not able to attend tonight's meeting, but you do have the letter that they provided as part of their application. That's all I have.
Again, no one has signed up for public, to address the public, but I will close this session and go into a public hearing and give you the opportunity to speak. It is 7:31. Anyone like to speak at the public hearing on this subject? Last minute, last second. Public hearing is closed at 7:31 plus 10. And I'll reconvene. So we're going to have to address these each individually.
Yes, sir, we'll do that when we get to the action items. And you're ready for the city manager report?
Okay.
Thank you. Announcements. So just a couple of things. As you know, a few weeks back, you approved a construction contract for street improvements. Early on in May, those affected residents will be getting letters about the work that is going to be happening on their street. Also, Randy and his staff and the engineers will be holding some public meetings with those neighbors as well. So if anybody calls you, please just send them back to Randy and his staff so that they can give them the appropriate information and or get them another copy of the letter. On May 9th, we have the pancake breakfast. Normally we do that on election day, but that's also the same day as the air show. And there's only so much excitement we can take in Universal City on one day. So they're going to have that on May 9th, as a Saturday. Then on May 12th, through my council, we have a special election that is to canvass the votes. And then coming up on Tuesday, April 28th, is our first 55 plus fashion show. There are still some tickets available for that, so if anybody would like to attend, that is certainly open. And then I did just put one thing in front of city council, although I have a sneaking suspicion we won't be talking about the drought for the next few days, but we have been monitoring the drought and our water usage. We're in really good shape. As you know, this is like, historically, we can't remember when the last time was we started a year out in stage 4 watering restrictions. So we've been in it for 90 days for the first quarter. And so in acre feet, we've used approximately 661 acre feet. And so you'll see what we have remaining for the year. That's just to kind of give you an idea of where we stand. That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to change the mayor's announcements just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Superintendent Maloney with the shirt symbol of Universal Cities ISD. And she's going to give a presentation on the bond issue that's coming up.
Thank you so much, Mayor Maxwell and council members. And it's just a privilege to be able to come before you tonight and give you the factual presentation from the district. Since the election has been called, I'm not advocating one way or another for the election, just providing the facts that led our board of trustees to call this election, which we are calling Bond 26. Yeah, am I gonna have to move over to the center, you think? There we go. So very first thing, what is a bond election? Voters allow the district to borrow money for school construction, renovation, safety, and technology. Funds are repaid over time with interest, similar to a home mortgage. I often say that if you move into a brand new neighborhood and you take out a loan to buy a house, the builder gets the money and you pay the mortgage off, and we in this case are the builder and hold the loan. And so we levy the tax rate every year to pay off on the debt. So why do we have to do this? Why do we have to hold bond elections? The state does not provide the funds for those large facility projects, and they can't come out of the general fund since the general fund is about 85% personnel. And I'm sure you have very similar things here at the city. I don't even know where I'm wanting to, go ahead. So how did we get here? For about 2 years, our Board of Trustees has been studying the major system components of our facilities. The average age of our facilities are 27 years. And so we were looking at major system components, replacements, things that need to be replaced or upgraded, and also at program support for the programs that we support at both of our major high schools and down at elementary for things like playgrounds. Then we brought together 75 stakeholders and we formed the community added on to the community advisory committee, and we met all fall doing tours. And that's how we got to $295 million bond proposal that the Board of Trustees ended up calling earlier in the year. Used to, you could just call one bond under one proposition, but now the state makes you put things in categories. And so Prop A is the general facilities prop, that it's major upgrades to our facilities, security systems, classroom and learning spaces, and then fine arts and physical education. A big thing on here that people have been talking about are playgrounds at our elementaries. The Watts Elementary playground is 30 years old, is kind of held together with some duct tape, and that is not, it really does have to have duct tape on it to hold it together sometimes. Go ahead. Prop B is our stadium facility. If you, in the state of Texas, if you have a stadium that's over 1,000 capacity, you have to put that on its own proposition. We have been renting bleachers every year for the past 10 years for our large games, so this would expand capacity. It would upgrade our safety and security and concessions and restrooms, get that out from under. If you've ever been to a game on Friday night, that's you're going to spend about half your time in the concession line to get a whole half to get a hot dog. So it would be redoing that safety. And then it would replace artificial turf at Steel and at Corbin. And you might say, why not Dobie? Dobie is less than 1,000, it's at 600, so that one is in the general prop. Go ahead. Prop C is technology devices for both staff and for students. Those would not be financed for over the life of the asset. So when we would sell those bonds, we would do it for 5-6-year term for the life of the asset. Go ahead. Anytime that we are talking about bonds, we talk about our two sides of the tax rate. The orange bucket or the M&O bucket, our tax rate that we levy for M&O is to pay our staff. It's our day-to-day operations. What we're talking about here is levying that INS tax rate to pay off on our debt. Go ahead. And so when you put those two together, and all the taxpayer really cares about is that school tax rate. And you go on. One thing that's gone on in the school district is the tax rate has decreased by 33 cents over the past 5 years. Some of that has been thanks to our legislature for tax compression and school district tax compression in the general operating budget. And then our board has been intentional as well to bring the INS tax rate down as we've retired debt. The ballot will say this is a property tax increase. We don't anticipate a tax rate increase in the 26-27. But I mean, of course, if you're putting out more debt, you're going to have to levy a tax rate over time to pay said debt off. One thing I will say again, thanks to the state of Texas, we have received homestead exemptions for school taxes for the past 3 legislative sessions. And so this last time it went to $140K on your primary homestead, and for over 65 up to $200K. I live in Schertz. I've lived in Schertz for 25 years. I paid the lowest school taxes I've paid since 2008 because of those homestead exemptions and that compression. But again, I mean, this is a property tax increase. Anytime you're putting more debt on the ballot or in your school district, you're gonna have to levy a tax rate to pay that. So I don't ever like to try to say anything other than that. Go ahead. So for homeowner under 65, homeowner 65, if you haven't had a major improvement to your home, you won't see a change, and so that would stay constant. Go ahead. And that really, I do encourage you to go to our bond website. One thing, we have made a video that captures pictures and video footage of the stadium. And so that's a really good one to go and look at for kind of just informing yourself about the propositions. But our website has every single project. You click on it and it tells you what it is. And we'll try to be as transparent as possible on all 3. And again, I just really appreciate the opportunity to come tonight. I have to say, Bay Area, Texas, I'm from Nocona, Texas. We played y'all in the state tournament a gazillion years ago when I was in high school. And y'all got us one year, and then we got y'all next year. So, but thank you, I appreciate it.
Small world. Thank you, Superintendent Maloney. Must admit, I was surprised Saturday morning. The high school at Schertz Civil Low ROTC unit was honoring the beginning of World War II, the Bataan Death March, and they were doing a memorial run. Each cadet was doing 14 miles, and I was out there because the commandant out there, no buddy of mine, and I kind of helped him get this started about 3 years ago. Long story short, I'm about halfway down the trail, and guess who I bumped into on the way back? She was well ahead of me.
I was not running, I was walking.
I was limping, so. But anyway, it was quite impressive to see you out there in the middle and early in the morning, and with the team supporting the school and the students. And thank you very much for your presentation.
Yes, sir.
Next, we have a proclamation for military month of the military child. That's the reason why we're in purple today. I'm going to ask Councilmember Hutt to read the proclamation. We do not have we were supposed to have a military family here tonight, but unfortunately, with the weather, did not have it.
It's my honor to do this as I am a representative of being military brat. So here we go. Proclamation, April 2026 is the month of the military child, and April 21st, 2026 is Purple Up for Military Kids Day. Whereas the City of Universal City will observe Month of the Military Child during the month of April 2026 and on April 21st, 2026. Purple Up for Military Kids Day. to honor military families and their children for the sacrifices they make and their unconditional support of our armed services. And whereas more than 2 million children under the age of 18 face the many challenges and unique experiences as a result of having at least one parent in the United States Armed Forces. And whereas these young people demonstrate remarkable strength and courage when faced with these challenges. And whereas the City of Universal City, along with the Texas Education Agency and surrounding school districts, are committed to ensuring military-connected students are supported in our schools and various programs, as our men and women in uniform focus on the missions they face in the line of duty. And whereas, in the month of April, citizens can show their support for military children and appreciation for their strength and sacrifices by wearing purple, which represents the blending of the colors of the 6 branches of the armed forces.
Now therefore, I, Tom Maxwell, Mayor of the City of Universal City, call upon all citizens of Universal City and upon all patriotic civic educational organizations to observe the month of April 26th to be the month of military child. Signed, April 21, 2026, as Purple Up for Military Kids Day. And thank you very much. For those that are not familiar with the military, I spent 24 years and I had 18 movies. I've met children that they went to 4 high schools. So, I mean, it is hard on children and families. So just, we do appreciate taking the time to honor them. Now, I do believe that you were a military brat.
I was a brat, yes.
Still are.
I am.
I'll go into my personal comments and everything. Just remind everyone, early voting has started this week. There are 3 people are going to be elected. There's 4 people running, so I just encourage you to all get out and vote. Use all 3 votes. Last week, Pro Tem and myself and City Manager went to Austin to work with some of the influencers, for lack of a better word, Texas Policy Summit. On the agenda for November is a proposal to lower property taxes. Actually, the rumors around that the elimination of property taxes have been rendered. I just want along, some of the confusion with that. The Lieutenant Governor of Texas gave a briefing and said that it would be nice to be able to get rid of all property taxes, but it's not really going to happen. He said it could happen if you want to give, say, a 20+% sales tax across the board. And no, the city wouldn't get the 25% sales tax. They would go to the state. And there's no guarantee that we would get that. But the Lieutenant Governor did make that statement. There is emphasis at all levels between here and the governor to lower property taxes across the board. We understand that. But we also understand that there is a need for taxing in order to fulfill the infrastructure. That's the reason why we do a budget. But we are looking at it, and I give you my word that we will provide the slimmest, tightest budget we possibly can and move forward with it. And I'll reiterate, no property taxes will go to the golf course. With that being said, I'm going to, our marketing department has created a nice little coloring book. It's actually designed by Sam and Marissa from Design. It is kind of honoring the Snowfest, or I should say the tree lighting, but this is kind of done with the library and everything else across the board. And where can we get this?
There's some in the lobby.
There's some in the lobby, so pick one out if you get some children going and go with that.
Golf course. Everywhere else in the city.
I started with the minutes, go to the council comments now, and we'll go, Mr. Brett, we'll go first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few comments. The first comment has to deal with perhaps getting some staff feedback on through traffic control. There are 2 areas, more than 2, but the 2 areas that are kind of popped up recently are traffic flow through the Rose Garden. Apparently, that subdivision is being used as a shortcut to get back to either Civil Crossing or other road course areas behind there. So there's been an increase in number, according to the residents, number of traffic stops, traffic speed. And the second thing that came up with the was a comment by a resident that said, hey, we have a lot of apartments, obviously they're pretty mature now and going to have move-ins, and they were wondering about some through traffic restrictions along Coronado, going through Coronado Village. So there is kind of two shortcuts through there. One that goes by the old elementary school, the other one that comes up around Balboa Drive to Amstead. And so we'd like staff to take a look at that and perhaps move forward on no through traffic for those two areas to help the residents out. The second item, Mr. Mayor, actually has to do with schools. And I know you've been talking with the JIC with regard to the status of Coronado Village Elementary. And I was wondering if we could get from them a confirmation of whether or not it would be possible or not at all feasible for that school to be open in another venue rather than Judson venue. I know that's probably not. If not, I asked Randy to take a look at the school grounds for two reasons. One, I know that in the Park Comprehensive Plan, there are data that are associated with indexing subdivisions with regard to schools. So if you have a school, there's an assumption that there's a playground there that the kids can use part-time, and it's kind of incorporated into a park numbers system, if I remember from attending some of Randy's meetings. Some consideration for the playground area and the area back there be considered for a future park if that's at all possible. And then finally, Mr. Mayor, I asked that you review the potential, not just Mr. Mayor, but the council review the potential projects that can be supported in section 505, decimal 150, with regard to the EDC, perhaps supporting that area for a community center, a performing arts center, and a senior center and general activity center. So I would appreciate if staff could kind of take a look at that and give some feedback in future. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. And with budget season coming up this summer, you come with a good checkbook. We can probably do a lot of those things. Mr. Shelby?
Nothing for me tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rebecca.
Just going to go back a little bit on what a great city we live in, what a neighborhood we have. We had the river runs through it yesterday, and neighbors came running over, and a bunch of little boys showed up with buckets. We had the bucket brigade to get all the water out of our backyard, but that is what Universal City is, and that's, I think, what makes me most proud about living here. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Don?
Thank you, Mayor. Until now, our donors for the Opticon system have been anonymous. I don't want to out them, but they are here tonight. So if there's a sign, I would love to give them some accolades, maybe a hand or something, but otherwise, stay anonymous. Okay. But I just want to really thank them because they did a lot of effort with the fire chief, and they've made a very generous contribution to get this off the ground. It's a large number, which was hard for me to swallow, but if they cover the first year, and then it's a 10-year after that, it makes it a lot easier. So I think it's going to be great for the city. It's going to allow the fire department to get over to the other side of town a lot faster. And so I just really appreciate it to whoever they were.
And it's a great city.
Thank you very much. Pro Tem?
Thank you to the anonymous donor as well. I was going to just
add on to Tom's comments, the Texas Summit Policy Foundation is very interesting, and it really allows us to get insight into what is being talked about at the state level so that we can also start thinking about how we need to go educate them as to what our needs are. And it gave us an opportunity to see who were leading these charges and who was the chairman or chairperson involved so that we could direct comments to them. And so I plan on starting some of those dialogues, especially related to taxes, because that is so impactful. And to the mayor's point, when Austin is talking about, hey, we'll get rid of property tax, but we'll have to have a 25-cent sales tax. Okay, that's great. Did you guys hear what the federal government wants to do? They're suggesting getting rid of all income tax and going to a 30% sales tax. So if I'm doing the math there, that's a lot of sales tax coming into our income on everything we purchase. So I think we really all need to be paying attention and talking and writing and making sure that our opinions are known to our elected officials. So, and then it's one of my favorite times of year. I have a couple really passion projects, but this one we are so lucky. We have a fire department and a police department who for a week host 12 to 14-year-olds and teach them, let them come hang out at the fire station and the police station, and they teach them CPR, they teach them stop the bleed, they get to put out a fire, they get to play with water hoses. They get to just hang out with our first responders, and it is always an amazing week. And applications are being accepted, it's posted on social media. If you know of any 12 to 14-year-olds that are interested, you can have them reach out to me directly. It's a great week, it's free, it goes, we provide breakfast and lunch. And I will say one of the things, there was a comment in the first year that we were there where one of the kids looked at me and said, this police officer is never this nice when they come to my house. And so these kids are getting a chance to interact with our first responders in a completely different way and build different relationships. And I think it's amazing that it's a free week that our first responders open their doors for. Thank you, guys.
Under the consent agenda, we've only got one item under the minutes of the 07 April regular meeting. I thank Councilmember Goolsbee for standing in for me that last meeting. Call for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second. Second. Any discussion? Let's go for the vote.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Aye.
Councilmember Revolve?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Approved. Okay, action items. Item A, 2023 Bunch Street Repackaging Fund Scenario.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, Mayor Bell is pulling up Randy's presentation. As you know, we had this on the last agenda. We went ahead and pulled it. We put a little extra thought into it, added in some streets with sidewalks in some areas on there, depending on where the street was located. And so overall, if you remember, we issued $6 million in street bonds. Our projects came back way under what we thought they were going to, and we had excess funds. So what Randy wants to talk to you about this evening is a couple of options that we need to put from council on, and the direction you'd like us to take us with the funds that we have remaining on that $6 million before we talk about issuing the next $6 million later this evening. Thank you, Randy.
Mayor, Council, I'm going to do a little bit of background real quick for the audience, real quick. So in 2023, Council approved the financing of the initial $6 million of the general obligation 2023 Phase 1 street bond construction. And then in March 17, 2026, City Council awarded the low base bid of the Phase 1 street improvements reconstruction projects in the amount of $2,794,286.14 to Brooks Paving Construction. Out of that $6 million bond, there's about $2.23 million that remains. And that's a good thing.
That's a good
thing. It really is. So that means that what we did is we got really good bids. And so got with our consultants tonight. I got Ho Shin from HDR, Jim Gonzalez, HDR. We put all our heads together to figure out how we should proceed with that excess funds that were left over from the bonds. So you're gonna see, go to the next slide. Okay, that's the wrong one. It's gonna be the one that looks like this, that's in the packet. On the agenda, in the agenda. It's not in there.
I'll bring it up, but
All right,
thank you.
I'll go,
Well,
so,
council has it before them in
Yeah.
their agenda packet, we
So-
just want to pull it up so everyone in the audience can see it.
so, we awarded the 2 point on the additive alternate one, the street package, scenario. What we're, in this particular scenario, you'll see that we had the, 2.230,190 after we awarded, the project to Briggs Paving. Once you drop down into scenario one there, you bring that balance forward. What we're proposing in this scenario is that we do an additional street, because we can go 25% over the initial contract of what we awarded to Brooks. So we can go up to that 634,517 with the added contingency and engineering. The engineering, what we're proposing in this, you'll see down below, where we would propose issuing the additional funds to engineer the next phase of the 6 million in phase 2, and then also go ahead and do phase package 3. That would basically give us a balance of 260,000 that would roll over into package 2 project funding on top of the 6 million that you'll be considering tonight for that package 2. So this is one scenario. So you jump to the next one, scenario 2. In this one, we bring that balance to 2.230. In this one, you would authorize engineering for package 2, 3, and 4, and that would leave a balance of 117,672. What we're looking at as a recommendation is this particular scenario 2, due to the fact that the oil price and everything's up right now, we're hoping it comes down. But we were able to get a good price when the oil prices were down. That's how we got that initial good bid. But right now, we've got a long time to actually put out a bid based on the fuel prices and everything. The only difference I would do in this, because you'll see in scenario 1, where we would actually issue a change order to do an additional street, which would be Bowie. In this particular scenario, you're actually designing Bowie. We would still have to design Bowie in the scenario 1. So the recommendation tonight to y'all would be to issue, authorize the scenario 2, where we would go out and design package 2, 2 and 3, and 4, and then we would still do a change order to allow, to take advantage of the pricing that we have with that Brooks Paving to actually do one more street and take advantage of those dollars there. So it's a good problem to have, but tonight we're looking to y'all. How would you like to move forward?
Mr. Vaughn?
Thank you, Mayor. I like sneaking in an extra street. It seems like we've been waiting quite a while for the streets to happen, so if we just do engineering, then we're gonna be waiting a little bit longer for another street. I'm just a little hesitant on Bowie because I know we talked about some development there that might impact what that street needs to look like, and so I would be afraid that we're gonna spend some money to do some redevelopment in that area and then have to do something a little bit different. So I didn't know if there was another opportunity. I mean, the street definitely needs work, but if there was another opportunity on the list, like a Young Avenue or one of the ones that you could fit into the budget would be my preference.
Well, you can only do 25% over the 2.7 million. And so that particular number of moving actually fit within what we're allowed to do.
Well, so would Young. I don't know if like Rosewood's 688, I don't know if that's, I don't know the 25% off the top of my head, but that would just be my recommendation would be, let's try to squeeze in another street, but I don't know if Bowie would be the right one that I would pick. That's just my feedback. Anyway.
Any other questions, comments? So you're looking for one of three proposals.
Yeah, looking for either scenario 1 or scenario 2. The difference is, yeah, we would do in scenario 1 is that you would authorize moving forward with the additive bid of Bowie, doing the design and construction, and then actually authorizing the engineering for package 2 and 3. In scenario 2, we would do the engineering for 2 and 3 and 4. So you're getting one more package done in advance. And this is what's critical is, y'all know how long it took us to get this particular one out, dealing with all the utilities. So if we can get that engineering out of the way with all these other packages, because the only way they're gonna do the utility work is that we gotta give design plans at 60% before they'll even consider relocating or doing adjustments to the utilities. So once we get that design work done, we can issue that out. That starts the clock on them to start the work. Even though we're only going to do $6 million this year, but we'll get the $6 million done on that utility works. But even the packages beyond that will be that one at the same time. So that's why I'm leaning towards scenario 2, and at the same time we can still issue the change order with the current contractor for Bowie or any other street that fits within that 25%.
Does the Bowie include sidewalks?
Can you all recall Bowie includes sidewalks? Just a portion of it.
Replacement process?
Yes, just a portion.
What was the question was on sidewalks?
If it included sidewalks, I didn't have a breakdown of it here tonight.
Oh, Jim?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think one of the things that I found frustrating is that we passed the bond so long ago, and it took so long with this engineering for this package. So I really do see the value in spending this excess money and getting all of those engineering studies done so that we can execute more quickly going forward on the next 3 or 4 projects. So that's really where I like your recommendation. I think that makes sense. And as you explained it, I was like, I'd really like to bang out some projects because it's been so long.
Yeah. And when y'all consider the next issuance, those $6 million would go straight to construction because the engineering pretty much is done.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Randy, there's when I look at the old package too, which was only a year ago type thing, there is a significant change in what's being proposed tonight for package 2. There's no West Stripe, for example, and there's been a significant change throughout this, again, compared to the old list that you gave us.
You already approved West Wright, so that's right.
I'm sorry?
You already approved West Wright.
He's saying there was a package 2.
Oh.
Yeah, so,
They got moved up.
yeah, so we had to shift everything around because if you look at the original ones when they designed it, when the costs were a lot higher, you see now that they've readjusted all their numbers. You'll see these numbers have come down. Let me start a big one here. So let me find Beechwood real quick. Beechwood. Originally on this one it was $880,000 on the original. It went down to $750. Another one, I'm trying to find Boulder. Boulder was $1.2 million. Boulder right now, they're showing at $695,000. So there's a significant, so we had to adjust Worthy Streets to make the $6 million work.
Thank you. Any other comments? Call for a motion.
I'll move to approve scenario 2.
Okay.
Second.
And we have a second for scenario 2. Any discussion? Let's call for the vote.
Councilmember Shelby?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye.
Councilmember Revolve?
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Approved. It is 8:07. This meeting is adjourned as we move into executive session. During this time, we'll have a discussion and reconvene at the end. You're welcome to stay, and let's take a 5-minute break before we adjourn into the conference. Recess, sorry, I did say adjourn.
We did say adjourn. Not tease.
It's good thing you corrected herself.
Yeah, everybody leaves.
Yeah.
Okay, where they go?
That's why I just thing. Are you just stay until the end of it? Okay, go ahead. Save yourself.
We always walk out with a better deal.
Oh, yeah, hopefully that's the case.
Okay. It is 8:52 and we are back in session. First up is item B, general obligation bond streets and revenue bonds with water sewer, FY 2026 financial plan.
Mayor and Council, I know that most of you know Victor Quiroga, but I will introduce him again for those in the audience who have never met him. He is our financial advisor. And so we've asked Victor here this evening to go over a couple items with you and provide direction to him and to the staff. The first one is, we talked about streets earlier. He's going to talk about a $6 million street bond. And then he's going to switch over from that to the water, wastewater utility. And he's going to talk about $6.5 million for a public works expansion, which Randy talked with you about a month ago. And then we have $13.5 million for purchase of water rights. Or you can do one or the other, or you combine the water and the public works building and do a $20 million issuance. So he's going to go through all of those scenarios with you. Hopefully you'll provide him some direction, and based on your direction, he'll be back sometime in the future. Victor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor, members of council, Mr. Turner, thank you again for having me here. My name is Victor, and with me is my associate Eduardo Lopez. He's new to our team, so I wanted to show him what a good city, how it's being run and everything, so he gets to witness that. But we saved the most exciting part for towards the end of the meeting to talk about bonds, and I'm going to try to be as brief as possible because it's obviously not the most exciting thing in the world to talk about. But the purpose of the presentation here, as Ms. Turner indicated, is to talk about our financial options or financing needs for this current fiscal year, 2026. We're going to talk about the GEO bonds through the voter authorization that you received a few years ago. Talk about utility system revenue bonds, totally different animals and different mechanisms. So we'll talk about that briefly and see what the impact is to your tax rate, and also are we healthy enough in the utility system to afford this additional debt? So we'll go over some of those things that we call coverage factors. And after that, we'll just be looking for some direction as to how you want us to proceed moving forward. We're not locking in any interest rates yet. We're just trying to get some direction on how you want to move forward. It's going to be a priority for your project. So if you go to the next page, one of the things that I think that's valuable and that the city should give more accolades on, because I think most taxpayers and constituents really don't recognize this, but the city of Universal City is a very highly rated municipality. You all are at the AA+, which is just one notch below the perfect rating. You can get a AAA rating. And what's unique here at the City of Universal City is that both your general obligation or your bonds that are being paid by property taxes and your utility system are ranked at the same credit rating, which is very unique. Most cities will have the property tax debt, which is a little considered more secure by bond investors, to be higher than the utility system. So again, just wanted to point that out. We have this chart here for you, just showing the fantastic job that the council's been doing and the staff has been doing to manage your finances. And this is being shown by an independent party, which is Standard & Poor's, that we'd look to provide that credit rating for bond investors. So the first component we'll talk about here is your general obligation debt. Currently we have $22.79 million in principal outstanding, and that's over 7 bond issuances. These bond issuances over time were issued to finance new capital projects or to refinance old debt for interest cost savings for your taxpayers. Historically, whenever we issued GEO debt, we've kept it at a 20-year repayment term or less. And so you can see here, the final repayment term on our current bonds is 2043. Last time we sold GEO bonds was in 2023. So you can just see here the chart below that is your principal and interest payments for each of the bond issuances, and they're all kind of color-coded, and that's very small, so you can probably refer to your printed copy there before you. So overall, pretty good shape. And this is one of the components why you're being reflected so highly with the rating agencies. And so here, we're now to financing component number 1 of 2. The proposal here would be to access $6 million of our general obligation bonds. So in 2022, the voters allowed you to issue up to $30 million on their behalf to address street projects. In 2023, we sold the first tranche or the first component of that, which was $6 million. We have $24 million left. The proposal would be to issue $6 million this summer and provide you additional funding so you can continue with your street projects and deliver what you promised to the voters. One thing to keep in mind is that these bonds are going to be paid from your interest and sinking fund tax rates or property taxes. Currently, our INS tax rate is set at an 8.8 cents. In 2022, November, when we called the election, our INS tax rate at the time was about 11.5 cents in that range. And so when we approached the voters, we told them that to cover the $30 million over a certain period of time that we're going to issue the debt, the tax rate for the interest and sinking fund would not go above 12.34 cents. So being at the 8 cent level, so we're well below that. If we issue $6 million, there's a likelihood that we are going to have an increase. Everything is still preliminary because we don't have your certified values or even your preliminary values just yet. That's going to dictate what INS tax rate you're going to have to set to cover your existing GEO bonds plus the proposed $6 million bonds that we're considering here for this fiscal year. Are there any questions on this component before I move on to the numbers? So the next page, this is the pro forma, and these are very conservative numbers. Here we're using the most conservative debt structure, and the new money issuance for the $6 million is in the column F there. That would be amortized over 20 years, and Mr. Vaughn and I were talking about different debt structures because he represents other cities and seeing different things. So this is the most conservative. The annual payments are going to be the same, your principal and interest payments, a little over $400,000. These interest rates are also conservative, just for planning purposes. And here, this is a pro forma showing your existing debt, your current property valuation as a city that you set your tax rate on. We're assuming a modest 2% annual growth rate in that property tax. You all have grown more than that in previous years. And so here, this just assumes continuing 2% growth. But if we fit in the $6 million right now, conservative numbers, we're looking at an INS tax rate to support the new $6 million issuance of a little over 2 cents. Again, this is just preliminary numbers. We'll find out more later in the summer when we actually sell the debt and we have certified values in hand. But there's other ways to soften that tax rate with different debt structuring on the $6 million. Any questions before I move on? Okay, great. So now we'll go over to the waterworks and sewer system or the utility system. This is its own component. It has its own credit rating as we discussed earlier. Right now, we have a outstanding principal from here about $8,675,000 in outstanding utility system revenue bonds. It's over 5 bond issuances. Some of this is issued under the general obligation when we issued certificate obligations. So this is here showing all the debt that's being supported by the utility system. It's $8.6 million. Again, here the payments will be going out, previously we've gone out 20 years. There's a discussion depending on what you want to finance next with the different projects. You don't have to limit yourself to 20 years. It's just a matter of what you're comfortable with if you want to go out a little further just to soften the impact a little bit on that repayment. So if you go to the next page, this is financing component number 2. Here, I hope nobody's eyes glaze over because it gets really exciting at this point. But basically, yeah. So for the general obligation bonds, that bond investor, when you sell those bonds, they don't have a collateral on the streets. They can't come and take it if you don't make that payment. But what they can force you to do is they can force you to set a high enough tax rate on your property values to repay their principal and interest debt. So with the utility system, those bonds and that debt are not paid by property taxes, they're paid by the rate payers and the rates that you generate off of the operation of that utility system. So because of that, we use different ratios and we make promises to the bond investors when we sold bonds in the past, and we have to maintain those promises if we continue to sell bonds in the future to future bond investors. So here, there's 3 components, and so basically the first one is what we call the minimum debt service coverage. We told the bond investors that invest in our bonds currently that we're going to maintain a minimum a debt service coverage ratio of 1.25. So what does that mean? That basically means that once you look at your operating expenses, you take out your so you have your operating revenues, you take out your operating expenses, you're left with what we call the net revenue figure. We have to make sure that for the existing debt and any future debt, that ratio is 1.25, meaning that net revenue has to be at least 25% larger than the annual debt payments that you have scheduled now and in the future. If we don't meet that test, we can't issue additional bonds for new projects until we're above that ratio. So the good news is that you all are extremely healthy with that respect. Currently, we're well above the 1.25 minimum. We're currently at 4.64, which is very healthy for a utility system. Any questions on that before we move on? So now the next figure is here. We're going to give you some information regarding different bond amounts and also different repayment terms and what does that do to our debt service coverage ratio. Again, we have to keep that above the 1.25 times. So here we're looking at 3 different bond amounts. The $6.5 million bond amount, we're looking at $13.5 million, and then if you were to do them together, it would be a $20 million bond amount this summer. So we ran it at different levels. We ran a 25 to a 30-year repayment term, and I'll just I'm not giving advice or telling you how to go about this. Let's just go over the $20 million one, and I'll just go line by line here. So for $20 million, and let's just say we decided we wanted to repay that over a 25-year term, you can see the second to last line. I'm assuming a conservative interest rate of 5%. The annual principal and interest payment for a $20 million bond issuance will be just under $1.5 million per year. We already have some debt on the books, so the 1.5 would be new debt. And so what does that do to our debt service coverage ratio? We're still above the 1.25. It's not as good as the 4.64 that we're at currently, but it does get it down to 1.79, which is still considered healthy, so long as we're above the 1.25 there. But again, it's just a matter of what your comfort level is in terms of what you want to finance this summer. And also keep in mind that we'll probably have other needs in the future as well to be mindful of. And we're going to have debt that's going to be rolling off too, so you're not going to be at that lower ratio for forever. If you go to any questions on the debt impact? Yes, sir. Yes.
On the coverage ratio, are you anticipating rate increases in the future, or
No,
are you
sir.
keeping current rates?
I'm keeping current rates low. Let me just confirm that because we have a performance in the very back for you. And yes, sir, I did not assume any growth in your net revenues or your expenses. So basically, your operating revenues for the utility system that were audited in 2025, this past fiscal year, about $12.3 million operating revenues. Operating expenditures was about $8.1, leaving you $4.2 million in net revenue for your existing debt and any new debt that you have. So I'm not assuming any growth in rates or expenses at this time.
Right.
Again, just trying to be as conservative as we can with analysis. Any questions, Mr. Vaughn? Yeah. So let's go over to the financing timeline. Here today, it's just presented to you your financing options of what you can afford. All the analysis that we ran showed that you can afford all the different bond amounts, both on the geo side and also the utility system side. Depending on how you want us to proceed, we could come back as early as next month. At that point, we could present to you a more formal financing plan for your decision as to what you want to finance and how much and the amounts and the repayment terms. With all that, we could come back to your August 18th City Council meeting. That morning, we would have gone into the bond market for both the GEO and the utility system revenue bonds. We would have bid it out, opened the bids that morning, and then that evening at your council meeting, I would come back to you and present those bids that we received, which at your high credit level, I'm assuming we're going to get a number of bids, and we would recommend the lowest interest rate bidder for your financing. That'll deliver monies into your account September 17th. No council meeting is required for that. That's just done over electronic bank wire. And for folks like Mr. Vaughn that like a lot of numbers and pro formas, if you like, in the Appendix A, I'm not going to go through all of them, but all 9 utility system revenue bond pro formas are on there for the different bond amounts and also the different repayment terms. So you can see how we calculated the debt service coverage ratios. But that is all I had. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you want.
Have we looked at any of the state programs that are those an option for us, like SWIFT or anything, to get some of their subsidized debt for water purchases? Or
Typically that.
Yeah, we have. We know the ones that are available at the Texas Water Development, TWBD, whatever the initials are. So yes, it may have a slightly lower interest rate, but unfortunately with that comes a lot of government red tape and staff time.
That's what hire you guys for. All the red tape.
All that time in the world. There's also some interesting things they have in there regarding the Bacon-Davis or Davis-Bacon, whichever came first. And then certain union rules and regulations that you have to follow as well.
That drive up the cost. That drive up the cost.
And that, yeah, again, and that alone drives up the cost.
But if we're just buying water rights, that wouldn't really impact it, right? If that's not construction.
Correct.
So just something to consider. I guess the other question I had was, if we buy some water rights now, say we spend $5 million, can we use any of the bond proceeds to reimburse ourselves? Can we set it up as a reimbursement rather than a future purchase to be made, just to give us more flexibility on the proceeds, because we're basically reimbursing ourselves?
Yeah, so when we sell the bonds, we're going to identify for the bond investor rating agencies what we're going to use the bond monies for. As when we deliver the bond proceeds, or the city receives the bond proceeds of the IRS rules, they want you to spend at least 85% of that within a 3-year period. So long as that expenditure or reimbursement occurs, before that 3-year period for the majority of your bond proceeds, you should be fine. So are you talking about money that you've already spent or going to spend from your existing funds?
Planning to spend soon, but probably before the bonds come in.
Okay, good. So what we recommend, and we'll work with bond counsel, is we'll bring back to you a reimbursement resolution. So that before you issue the debt, the council has already agreed that for future bond proceeds that are going to be delivered, whether this issuance or future issuances, you have the opportunity to reimburse those coffers where you took the monies from. But yes, sir, you could absolutely do that.
Okay. I'd recommend that we look into that, just for that. And then, as we talked about earlier about the streets, we have that kind of cliff in 4 years, and I don't know when we're planning to do the next round of $6 million, but if that's going to be in the next 3 years, with the way you have it structured, it would be difficult for us to afford that without a large tax increase. So if we can soften those first 3 or 4 years to where if we're going to do another one in 2 or 3 years, then we can fit it in a little bit easier in 3 years.
So we probably would. Here's my issue with the softening, and I understand you can have 0 payment the first years or a lower payment, but the problem is, and we've run into this several times, then all of a sudden you have these big balloon payments that come in at the end. And it's 20 years down. We don't know what the economic climate is going to be at that time. We don't know what the financial wherewithal of the city is going to be at that time. So from a financing standpoint, we prefer not to do that. That's why we go the conservative route with the level payments. That way we always know what our debt is for sure.
It's just going to make it hard to do another 6. if it's within the next 4 years.
So I would imagine if you're gonna go forward, so this would be bond package number 2. If you were gonna go forward with your next bond package number 3, what year are you intending? In the next 3 years?
I would say 3 years.
In 3 years.
At a minimum.
We'll get a break on that year 4, so if there's a way we could stretch it to, it gets to
We can
that
try and
4th
stretch
year.
it, yeah. And of course, as we're going through and with Victor, I'm assuming we have other debt that will become either eligible for refinancing or that at some point will roll off, and that will give us that break that we need as well.
Yeah, and the biggest driver too is going to be your property valuation. That's going to be your biggest driver for tax rate. So here we're still being a little modest in our projected growth. That one does have a slight growth of 2% per year. So any more than that will help soften the tax rate for sure.
Sure.
No.
So you're looking for direction from us, either proposal for.
Okay, so question number 1, are you wanting to go forward with the next $6 million for street bonds?
Yes.
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 Thank
Yes.
you. Mr. Shelby, did you have your hand up?
He did,
He said
yes.
I just said yes.
Okay, thank you. And then the next question is now on the utility revenue bonds. 6.5 million, 13.5 million, or both?
I'll go first, I guess. The 20 million scares me a little bit. I'm just looking at the last proposal. Even if we did it at 30 years, it's more than double our current debt service, which I know we're still meeting the debt service coverage ratio, but that seems like a big hit. And I know part of that 20 million is the proposed public works facility, which I know we probably really could use, but it does seem like luxury if we have other needs. And so I would be a little bit hesitant on that. So I think the 20 million might be a little bit more than I would be comfortable going with.
Fair statement.
What would you feel comfortable with?
I guess, I think definitely reimbursing ourselves for our current water purchases so that we have some additional capital to make more if we need to, and then maybe giving a little bit more for that. I'm interested to see how this capital improvement plan with the impact fee study goes, because that's gonna tell us really what our infrastructure needs are, and that public works building may not be very high. And we've also been talking lately about a space needs assessment and how we need to hire a consultant to tell us where we need to go, but we've decided that this building is important. I think maybe if we waited for that study to tell us what all facilities and which ones are the most important, might be more prudent before jumping on that bandwagon. It just seems like a really expensive building for what it is, and I don't know if that's gonna be the tip of the spear that we should be going after first.
No, not a consultant to do it, but I can just keep in mind, we have debt in 2031 that is rolling off. I think there's 3 of them, or 2 to 3 that are, I know, that are rolling off. But even at that, right now, we've already cut that building down from a 10 million to about 6.8 and getting it down right now. Just moving forward, we push that thing down the road, it's gonna be a $10 million project. So that's what I'm trying to prevent, is that us going out for more money on something that we could probably do right now at 6.5, right, 6.5.
You could just make the same argument though for water lines or sewer lines, and if we've got something broken that needs to be fixed, if we push it, it's gonna get more expensive too. So it's hard to know what all is in the world of things that we really need to be doing and which ones are the most important. That's what I feel like I'm missing a little bit to say, yes, let's go forward on the public works building.
Yeah, and it really, it's where Mr. Rubel came down there and like, you know, if you come down and look at what we got, what we're dealing with.
It's rough.
It is, yeah, it really is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Looking at when the public works utility debt falls off, and it looks like 30-31 for two issuances, somewhere around 600K only each, so it's times 2, so 1.2 mil about. And so there's not a lot of roll off compared to the added burden of bonds at that point in time. There's a little further roll-off at past 3035, but that's actually it. Everything else is coming due past 4040, the two larger ones, and some around, just looking at my graph, 1.38 to 1.4-ish mil for those two will come off. But that's really an out date. So I would agree, Mr. Vaughn. I know there's need for improvements down there. That's very, very true. But I think our need right now to move for sure is on the Part B, the 13.5, because that potentially has economic advantages in the future rather than a cost. Thank you.
Mr. Sealy?
I think my impression is yes, still the 13 is important, but I also still feel that the 6 is also important because we are looking at a facility that houses a large portion of our staff that keeps the city moving. And I'm sure Randy can speak to this, but you guys have been squeezing everything you can out of the existing facility for several years at this point. So I have a concern with kicking that can down the road and paying more for it later. We know prices are going to go up unless we have some major recession that knocks prices down. Which is less likely in this current climate. So I support both. Thank you.
Okay.
I was one of the people that was a really big advocate to do the needs assessment for the city, but I'm well aware that the Public Works has outgrown its space. We need to have better places to store our expensive equipment so that it doesn't age faster than it needs to. It seems to me like, would Randy's facility come from a different funding source? That is not property taxes, correct? Randy's facility comes from
That would be paid through your water and sewer utility rate.
whereas any of the other buildings that we would need to do, I know it impacts our overall debt, but it comes from a different source, correct?
So the water wastewater revenue, while it is debt, it stays solely within the utility fund.
Okay.
And so that building would be solely within the utility fund. All of the other needs assessments that we're talking about would be through the general fund, and that would be property tax.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm kind of coming down where William did, is it's like I hate to kick down the can and wait and have it be more expensive, and if it's less expensive, then we'll spend less money and we won't. Yeah, I don't see the need to push it down off further. Thank you.
Ms. Pratt?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with William too. The Public Works is what keeps our city going and clean and proactive, and I just don't see any sense of putting off. I've watched them down there for years, and it's tight. Your morning meetings alone, but the equipment, I'm all for let's just eat it and do it.
Mr.
Yes.
One component that's missing in these two numbers is what the rate our residents will face. And if we could get some feedback on that, that would, I think, be important. So obviously, we're talking about from our residents, from the people who use water, sewer, and so forth, 13.5 million. It's got to be reflected in the rate structure, and adding the 6.5 million is going to add to that rate also. So again, our step is out at 3031, or step down That's perhaps too long. It'd be nice if there could be a more of a phased-in amount than 6.5 mil. But I think the rate per resident has to be incorporated into a decision. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Let me add, in our current budget that you approved this year, that 530,000 that you see, that 20-year for 6.5 million is already in our budget for this year.
So it's already included in your rates?
It's already included in the rate that you're paying right now. So the only difference that we're looking at if we go to 20 million is that cost difference. It's just the cost difference that we did build in as if we were making a payment this year on 6.5 million.
And already approved.
Yes, it's already in your rates right now. So for our building, if you're issuing it, that payment's in this year's budget.
So then the additional rate structure for years moving forward
It's
would
gonna be
add
for the water.
in
For the water.
for the 13.5.
Yes.
Conversely, Mr. Mayor, that would be half of the rate increase for 13.5. So thank you.
Yes, sir, you are correct. Again, remembering that our rate structure is set. When you do a rate structure, you're looking at two items. You're looking at fixed and variable. And so we are typically doing your fixed and your variable at 3%. The direction to the consultant was to try to stay, not this consultant, our rate consultant, was to try to stay within that 6%. But the question is it going to be a higher number on the fixed, a higher percentage on the fixed and a lower on the variable, or can he keep it at 3% and 3%? Will it be 4% and 2% or 5% and 1%?
Well, this time I call for a motion.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, you can.
Victor, if we're looking at the 20 million, and we have the three choices, given the current climate, is there one of those choices that you feel would be the best way to step that in? I mean, because I know that's a big chunk. I'm concerned, like Sheriff feels concerned with this.
Yeah. So similar to our discussion with Councilmember Vaughn about the GO, how we could structure the debt, the analysis that we ran, and it's in the appendix for the revenue system bonds, you could just go to any of them basically, but at page 11, you can see on column I highlighted that column that represents the new bond issuance. Mm-hmm. And you can see it's similar to the GO bonds in that I'm just using a conservative level debt structure format there. There's a potential opportunity to, if the 6.5 is already in your budget for 530,000 annual payment, it's already there, and you just have to factor in, inflation and also the water rights purchase that you're thinking about. We could do a couple of things. We could soften the first few years of payments just to let your ratepayers catch up to that $13.5 million acquisition amount. Or we could also go, 25 years or 30 years for the repayment. So that'll help soften the debt impact on your ratepayers for the water rights purchase. So we have some options there that we can continue to review to help soften the debt payments initially.
Okay, and then Randy, this question is more for you. Mm-hmm. With the water rights purchase, how do you anticipate on issuing those bonds? Is it all at once, or are you going to step it in so that we just?
Yeah,
all at once. All at once, okay. Yes. So we'll have the bonds, but then we can just take them, we'll always just have the money there if the opportunity arises.
Right.
Okay.
And I like what Councilman Vaughn stated, that if we, in the process that we've issued it, and then we're able to go out and acquire it, the water, we reimburse ourselves. So I like that.
Okay. Thank you, that's all.
All right, just one counterpoint. So I hate paying interest. So when you soften it, means taking it out for longer, you have to understand that it may be a lesser rate now, but you end up paying more interest in the long run. Mm-hmm. So that's the balancing act. Mm-hmm.
Just to be clear, you're looking for the total bond amount plus the payback cycle by the.
I believe in Victor's being monopolized by Randy. So I don't think necessarily right now you have to agree to the 20, 25, or 30. I think you really need to give
Just the
him
amount.
an amount
Just
to
the
work
amount.
with so we can go back and run the various financing options, or do you want a 20?
No, yeah, it's a big decision. I don't want you to decide now. I think we have enough direction as to the amount, and then we could run different scenarios for you, and then present them
Come back in
next
May.
month. Yes, because we're not selling bonds till August. It's going to take some time to get the documents.
So give him the direction, so we already said yes on the 6 million, and then give him the direction on what you want to do for the utility, and then he'll come back with your financing 20, 25, 30 in May.
So call for a motion.
Just to move to approve the 20 million?
Second.
Any discussion?
Motion to divide,
I didn't hear it.
motion to divide the 20.
We already have,
Separately.
we already have a motion on that, that we have to take out first. We already have a motion that's been seconded.
The motion is only for the 20 million. It's not for the 6 million.
Oh wait, so I'm confused, I'm sorry.
Well, the 6 million was separate. I thought we already said 6 million for
Yes.
streets.
Councilmember Rubal, can I have clarification on your motion to divide?
Yes, the motion to divide would be to divide it into two approvals, 13.5 and the 6.5. And that, because that motion was made as an amendment, that would take precedence on a vote, I think, so. And then we would go back to the original motion, depending on what happens.
I don't think Bernie wants to vote no on the water rates. I think he wants that vote on
Yeah,
water.
he's asking for 2 votes.
Yeah, so I'm not sure I don't know what the protocol is if there's already a motion, if it has to be voted on before the other one
Well,
is considered.
the person who placed the motion can pull it. But let me understand the situation. So we're going to make, you're requesting a 6.5 motion and a 13.5 motion?
That's it.
Okay.
And it's the
I don't know what the advantages of that is, but Mr.
Well, let's let the motion go for a vote, and then if it fails, then we can go back and split it up.
Okay.
Is there a second for the motion to divide?
There's no.
I would second it, but I'm still a little bit confused on do we need to do the streets as well in that? Like it seems easy if we just did 3 votes on the 3.
We've already got consensus for the streets.
Okay, so do we really need a vote, or do we just need consensus?
So he's called for a motion to divide. If somebody gives a second to it, then you're gonna do a yes/no vote on the 13.5 and a yes/no vote on the 13. If neither of those passes, you're gonna go back to your original motion, which is for 20 million.
Okay, I would second the amendment.
Since the 20 million was the first one up, shouldn't it normally be first?
No.
Because on the-
No, you go to the secondary motion and then you work your way back.
Okay. So the
It's
motion
your
to divide now is, so we need a motion for 6.5 million.
Well, he's got a motion to divide. Do we have to vote on the approval of the motion to divide?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're either approving that we're going to split it up or not is the next vote, is what I see.
So the motion was to divide by Mr. Rubal, it was seconded by Mr. Vaughn. Now, Maribel's going to do a roll call. If you want to do the split, you're going to vote yes, and if you don't want to do the split, you're going to vote no.
All right, Councilmember Rubal,
Yes.
Councilmember Vaughn,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
No.
Councilmember Putt,
No.
Councilmember Shelby.
No.
Motion failed.
Now we're back to the original motion.
Motion fails. Now the original motion for the 20 million has been made and seconded. So let's go ahead and call that.
Councilmember Shelby,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Putt,
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal,
With regrets, no.
Councilmember Vaughn.
No.
Motion carried.
Approved. Thank you, sir. You've got your directions?
Yes, and we'll be seeing you all next month with different options.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
I apologize.
Oh, no, it's okay. We were pretty close.
All right.
Thank you.
You too.
Take care. Okay.
You're not at the end of the meeting, Victor.
Oh, wow.
We still have a lot on our agenda. We have a lot
I'm lucky then.
Yeah.
Couldn't have worse.
But thank you.
All right, so the
Item
next
C.
item there, thank you.
Item C, Resolution 909G2, 2026, FY 2026 Budget Amendment.
Good evening again. So during the January 6, 2026 council meeting, council approved the award of the contract for the Olympia Hills renovation construction project. As a result of this approval, the budget amendment is required to properly allocate the associated expenses and project costs. This amendment will ensure that sufficient funds are designated for the project and that all financial activities are accurately reflected in the city's budget. Attached is the budget amendment detailing the required changes. And we just request your approval of the resolution.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got it first, okay. Any discussion?
Real brief, Mayor.
Yes.
Just want to say I'm not a big fan of taking the venue tax, but this council's already approved it, so this needs to be done so that we're legal. So I just want to explain that. Anyway.
Call for the vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye.
Councilmember Revolt?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby?
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item D, ordinance number 655B, 2026, approve a SUP for an ARU at 208 East Lindbergh. This is the additional facility.
Good question, sir.
Yes.
Just for procedural, you would move to approve and then vote yes or no off of that to avoid the voting on the negative.
That is correct.
Okay, move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Shelby?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
No.
Councilmember Putt?
No.
Councilmember Revolt?
No.
Councilmember Vaughn?
No.
Motion failed.
Item E, ordinance number 655C, 2026, approve of the SUP for the automotive rentals used at 942 Kitty Hawk Road.
Move for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Shelby?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
It was actually Putt.
Oh, sorry. Councilmember Putt?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
No.
Councilmember Revolt?
No.
Councilmember Vaughn?
No.
Motion failed.
Item F, resolution 990, 2026, adopting a comprehensive safety action plan, affirming support for a safe street roads for all programs establishing a goal of zero transportation-related fatality and serious injuries on city-maintained streets by 2050.
Hello, yes, definitely a mouthful, but I'm excited to be here. I know you guys are, and Councilman Vaughn, thank you for all that you've done and been a part of as part of our safety task force team. But we're kind of final stretch, so there is a lot of in the tunnel, but we need y'all's help in formally adopting our plan so that we can move forward with our safety action plan and projects in the future. So with that, on the next slide, all of these slides will look very familiar. I presented back in March, provided just kind of a program overview and the progress that we have done thus far. But just to recap on all of that, so the Safe Streets for All program is a bipartisan infrastructure law with a total of $5 billion in funding. That's been within the last 5 years. We're currently in our last funding cycle, so 2026. And so as part of this entire plan, really what we are trying or want to achieve is to eliminate fatal and serious injury crashes on streets along streets in Universal City and then throughout the entire city. So on the next slide, There are two different grant buckets that we fall in and that we can apply for additional funding. So planning and demonstration, that's the development of comprehensive safety action plans, which is what we're here for and what we've done already. Any supplemental plans out of that, and then any demonstration activities. The other bucket, and another bucket that we are hopefully looking to get additional funds for from a grant standpoint, would be the implementation. So this is actual construction dollars that we would be requesting to forego some of these projects that we have in the safety action plan. So these are the different components that we are required to check as part of the Federal Highway Administration requirements. And so really the first step is identifying that leadership commitment and goal setting. So number one, just identifying what that goal is. And that, with all of the engagement activities that we've had with the safety task force, all the meetings that we've had, as well as the public involvement with the entire city, the goal that has been identified with all of those groups is really to establish a goal of zero transportation-related fatalities and serious injuries on city-maintained streets by 2015. So zero is really our goal. This is a little history of Universal City SS4A's process. And so the grant was originally submitted back in April 2024. Universal City was awarded the grant at the end of that year. We had our first kickoff meeting in June of 2025, and then we've had a couple of pop-up events at the Universal City Pumpkin Patch, and then also at the tree lighting event in December. So, and then we also did meet with you guys back last month in March to kind of just provide an update on where we are. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about each of the steps and what we've done for those who weren't part of that first city council meeting. And so we've completed all the safety task force meetings where we did identify our goal, where we've also identified different projects, whether from an infrastructure, non-infrastructure, or policy standpoint. We've had 2 community pop-up events to where the community was able to participate in identifying projects in areas that they wanted to focus on in Universal City. We did have a community survey as well, and that was open for a month. And we have a website also that has been open throughout the entire time where people are able to interact with the safety dashboard and the crash data. But our final action, which was the release of our draft safety action plan, that was open for public comment from March 3rd to April 3rd, so a month. Just to allow the community to comment on projects that are proposed, or if there's something that they don't see that's in there that they would like to see, we did allow the community to participate in that as well. So a little history about the safety analysis. So in total, within the last 5 years, so 2020 to 2024, there have been a total of 688 crashes within Universal City. As part of the safety task force and crash analysis that we performed on our part, we did identify a high injury network. So while we can't fix everything in the city, plus not everything needs to be fixed, we do need focus though. We need to prioritize certain projects or certain areas to where we can then identify projects. And so with that, we identified a high injury network. And so on the high injury network, we are accounting for 452 of those total crashes. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the strategy and project selections and kind of how we got to projects that we are proposing from an infrastructure and non-infrastructure standpoint. And so we lump them into these 3 different categories. So we want to look at intersections, corridors, and then from a systemic standpoint, projects that we can implement system-wide. So what is shown right now on your screen is kind of just a summary of all the infrastructure projects that are proposed within the plan. And so the next one will kind of dive into what all of these projects are and then the intersections that we are focusing on. So from a targeted recommendation standpoint, the intersections that we are focusing on where there are the most crashes would be Loop 1604 and Pat Booker and Athenian, Centerbrook, Universal City and Kitty Hawk and Old Cimarron, and then FM 78 and Pat Booker. The corridors that we are focusing on, so once again, these are the corridors with the highest crashes and most severe crashes in the city. So Athenium from Pat Booker to Universal City Boulevard from Kitty Hawk to Pat Booker, and then Old Cimarron. So really in that school area where we're wanting to focus on those vulnerable users. So your students, those who are walking and biking. These are systemic safety countermeasures. So once again, these are improvements that we can propose citywide as not just focusing on a certain intersection or corridor. And so the ones that we are focusing on here would be dedicated turn lanes, emergency vehicle preemption, which was discussed a little bit earlier, and then also LED flashing chevrons, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, and then school zone flashers. So the next slides are going to dictate those locations and areas where we are proposing these projects. And so on the next one, our first safety, systemic safety countermeasure would be the rectangular rapid flashing beacons. And so the purpose in this was really focusing on those areas near parks. City Hall is a great example. You'll have a lot of great events here, a lot of people who are walking across the street and things like that. So we wanted to propose or recommended proposing these rectangular rapid flashing beacon projects near schools and City Hall. So there are 7 locations that are proposed as part of that. Number 2 would be school zone flashers, so upgrading any ground mounted ones to overhead, and then any others that may be missing. And so we did have more. There's just been some schools that have been closed, so we had to kind of prioritize and reallocate where we identified those projects to be. Number 3, emergency vehicle preemption. So this would be installing at 20 intersections the vehicle detection systems to allow first responders to be able to get through intersections.
The one they approved this evening.
Correct, yes. So already making progress, it's exciting. And then also installing emergency vehicle warning system right here with the fire department so that people are aware when they do get a call, they can just respond to it quicker. Number 4, the flashing chevrons on Kitty Hawk. It is just one curve identified that has been problematic, and I know you guys have experienced a history of crash data within several years. So this is more of just formalizing that moving forward. And then the last one, the last countermeasure would be turn lanes. There are Loop 1604 and Pat Booker, Universal City and Kitty Hawk. I know I see some faces, so, and then also Old Cimarron and Kitty Hawk as well. So the policy and programmatic safety actions where we really need y'all's help, not right now, but later on in the future when we do go to implementing some of these policies. This is where you guys will come in. This is where the city is really going to need your help to move these different actions forward. But some of the policies that we are recommending would be establishing a traffic impact analysis policy, traffic calming policy, establishing street design standards, also traffic signal design standards. So whenever you do have a new traffic signal come up, you have a standard and people follow it. Just emergency vehicle preemption. Whenever anyone comes up, someone's going to be, whoever it is, whether it's a developer on the public side, would be required to install that equipment as well. And then crosswalk design. So next steps and where we are right now, we are looking to adopt this plan. It will help us move forward with other potential funding opportunities, whether that is through state funding or federal funding dollars. We are not requesting any sort of money from y'all to move this plan forward. Really, we just need y'all's assistance in helping us adopt this plan and resolution so that we can move forward with the 0 fatalities and serious injuries in Universal City. So, I know I went fast. I know you guys should have the safety action plan. The plan moving forward is also, and you probably saw on the previous slide, once you guys have reviewed it and adopted it, we want it to be visibly public or available to the public online. So April 30th is the deadline that we have to meet federal highway administration criteria and guidelines in order to get the money back from the federal.
Fulfill our grant.
There we go, fulfill our grant.
Yes, also, speaking of fulfilling the grant, I know that we were recently awarded 2 projects, Randy, that fall within this. Could you tell me what the 2
Yes,
projects
oh my
are?
goodness, how could I forget? I did write it down, but I got lost in my notes up here. So one really exciting thing as part of the safety project that we have, you guys were actually recently awarded a TxDOT Highway Safety Improvement Program funding dollars to help move forward some of these projects already. And so with that, 2 of the projects that the state awarded funds for would be for Old Cimarron pedestrian crossing improvements that were proposed, and then also upgrades at the Kitty Hawk signal and school zone flashers in that area. So we're already making progress, even on the preemption side, that as well. So it is exciting, and the neat thing about some of these projects, depending on the funding source, so TxDOT Highway Safety Improvement Program, the one that was you guys were recently awarded, that is from a construction standpoint, the city doesn't pay any construction dollars for that, but you do have to pay for design. And so as part of this plan, we are looking to fulfill our grant for FHWA. Federally, they will pay for 80% and then the city pays for 20%. So this is where, in order for this to get adopted, it would allow you guys to get your 80% on that.
Move that we approve the comprehensive safety action plan.
It's by resolution.
Oh, I have to read something fancy? Or resolution 990, 2026? Did that work?
Yes.
Second.
Second.
This one, okay.
Great, gotcha.
Yeah, Bert's got
Oh, you got me?
You got you on that. Sure. Okay, any discussion? Let's move for the vote.
Councilmember Vaughn,
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Putt,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Motion carried.
This is
Awesome. Thank you,
real
guys.
nice.
Thank you
We're
very much.
excited.
We want more grants.
Yes, we love
Yes.
grants.
Item G, consider bid acceptance for the Westway Drive water line replacement project.
Yes, sir, Westway Drive is behind the library, for those who don't know. Randy put this out to bid. As you can see, the project bid came in very good. Randy's recommending the $275,000 base bid along with the alternate for a total bid of $281,499.24, and that it be awarded to All Pro Paving.
I move that we approve All Pro Paving for $281,499.24.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Sir,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Randy. Just tell me what the asphalt business is in this.
I was waiting I was wondering which one y'all were going to ask me that question. I was ready for it. Yeah, that was the same question I had, but they have a utility division that they brought on, and we verified everything through them, and so we've actually worked with the gentleman that is the superintendent. He was with Easyville at one time, and so he is running their utility division, so they're quite capable under his leadership. Yes.
Okay, and obviously the asphalt's on the outside of the line or something, you know.
Well, they'll be able to, if they're cutting the street, they know how to repair the street.
Okay, got it.
Call for the vote.
Councilmember Vaughn,
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Putt,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Resolution 972B 2026, Water Smart Grant Application.
We want to do another grant, we can't go for it without your approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Putt,
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughn,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item I, Flintstone Lane, pay application number 4.
Thank you. Flintstone, also a street behind the library. This is our CBDG project. This is pay application number 4. We cannot submit it for approval without your authorization, and there will be one more pay application after this one.
Move to approve.
Second.
That's pretty close.
Discussion? Call the vote.
Councilmember Putt,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal,
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item J, resolution 943I, 2026-2027 MVCPA catalytic grant.
Yes, sir. Grant money, police department, flock cameras can't go after the grant without your approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, Mr. President. So, how much creep are we getting in the execution of use of the flock cameras?
We use it every day.
I'm sorry?
We use it
No,
every day.
no, financially, I mean.
Oh, I get it, okay. So the annual contract is $43,500. The license plate readers are $95,000, and so they pay for the training. Last year, they covered 80% of it, so again, it's still the same amount. We're just going back, and every year, we can go after the same grant. So it's from year to year to year, year to year to year for them to keep covering our costs to have those cameras.
And we really never got a resolve, we really never got a resolve from the chief as whether there was, need for more or less or whatever.
You mean additional cameras?
Or less, yeah.
Yes. I'm assuming that will come out in their budget process.
Okay, got it.
Call the vote.
Councilmember Putt,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal,
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item K, temporal council message board renewal.
Council message board, contract is expired. Do you want to keep it or not?
I move that we renew it for another year.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm going to be another no vote on this one. I've never felt like it's been utilized effectively. And I would rather have active dialogue up here on the dais than read all of the writing that goes on that board. It's too much to digest. So that's all.
I'm the same on that.
Yeah, I'm a no. It's a lecture.
I just think it gives somebody who wants to use it an opportunity for a voice. And so there's been some conversations on the dais here about trying to shorten meetings. And this is if you want to do that, maybe put limits on people. This is a good way to allow them to go and get their point across without having to do it at the meeting. Doesn't mean you have to read it, doesn't mean you have to participate. It's a pretty nominal cost of about $650. I think it's pretty harmless. I agree it hasn't been very well utilized, but that's not a reason to maybe kill it just because if one council member likes it or two council members like it, it's just another tool in our toolbox for a very nominal cost.
I can understand that, but I did have a question. If you're not reading it, how is it useful for paying information? I'm asking a question over here in front of the.
I mean, I guess it's better than not being able to say anything. So if somebody wants to say something at a meeting, but there may be limits placed on time limits, or if you really wanted to speed up the meetings, you could say, hey, could you put that on the message board? You may not care, or may not ever read it, but it would allow them to at least get to say what they want to say, even if nobody looks at it. They have that opportunity for someone to look at it. And you can say, you can read my comments on the message board. I don't have to repeat them here. That might make meetings go a little faster.
I can understand that, but also feel that the mayor has the ability and authority to extend and allow conversations to go. I mean, sometimes the conversations do get contentious, and go around in a circle saying the same thing. So with that in mind, so I'm just making that as an observation. I'm not making a decision either way. I don't need to vote. Anyway, any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. There were 16,000 hits on the council message board. And if the council isn't reading it, our residents
Or box,
I'm sorry.
or box. The page can be spidered and that can count as a hit.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Call for a vote?
Councilmember Vaughn,
Aye.
Councilmember Wall,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
No.
Councilmember Todd,
No.
Councilmember Shelby.
No.
Motion failed.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is 9:55 and this meeting is adjourned.
I am surprised it's before 10.
We tried.
Yeah, we did. We tried. Give our best effort to go. It's past pajama time. I was gonna say, this took me back to my husband said, don't worry.
Thanks, Councilmember Shelby.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thanks for shutting this down.
Enjoy the rest of your trip.
Safe travels.
I need to go get my water bottle.